My name is Rafael, you're watching Rock and Roll Garage, and I'm going to tell you a really interesting story involving Elton John and a Pink Floyd song. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. Well, that song is Shine On You Crazy Diamond, which originally was written with Syd Barrett in mind. It was inspired by him, by what happened to him over those years, that all the mental state and etc. And there's Elton John, one of the greatest songwriters of all time, one of the greatest pianists, singers, and what a person to come up with melodies. I mean, he's an extremely wonderful musician, a genius for sure, and he likes Pink Floyd, and he likes that song especially. And a few years ago, in an interview with BBC Radio, a few years ago, almost 40 years ago, in 1986 already, he praised that song, and he told a really interesting story about his connection with that song. And this is what he said to BBC Radio back then. He said this: "I went to Barbados in 1976. I'd been really successful from 1970 to 76 in America and all over the world. I was really quite shattered physically and mentally. I never really had a long holiday in the West Indies at all. We went to Barbados, Bernie Taupin, my lyric writer, and myself. We had 2 houses on the beach. You know, there are certain records that you remember. It was Pink Floyd, the Pink Floyd album called Wish You Were Here. I always remember one day we were sitting on the beach. This lady came down in tears and said, 'Listen, my son is dying of cancer. Can he come down and say hello to you?' And we said, 'Of course, bring him down for tea.' Well, they brought him down. They carried him down. He was like just skin and bone. There was nothing of him. He came down every day. At that particular time, the track from this album we used to play was Shine On You Crazy Diamond. So one night at the sunset, we had all held hands, put the track on. I'm not particularly religious, but we said, okay, let's just hope he gets better. That was it. Then 3 years later, I was playing in Washington, D.C. There was a knock on my hotel door. This guy said, 'Hi, it's Steve.' And I said, 'Yes, can I help you?' It was the same boy who was a muscular, like Sylvester Stallone, completely healthy. Yet, if you had seen this boy, you know, he was literally 3 months to live. So I always remember this track. It's a wonderful track that brings back a happy memory. And Shine On You Crazy Diamond is actually 2 tracks from Wish You Were Here, which was released in 1975. One of those greatest Pink Floyd albums from that era that started with Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, and The Wall, which are the most best-selling Pink Floyd albums and the prime of their career for most of the people. You still got the Syd Barrett fans who think that his era was the best. But anyway, what a wonderful story. And it's really interesting to hear those kinds of stories because what was told by Elton John, it really happens with a lot of us. There are certain songs that really are, you know, that label stuff that happened to us. So couples, they remember the first song they danced to it, which song played in their marriage, or which song you used to hear with your brother, which song you used to hear when you're in the school. So it's interesting, those connections that us human beings do with music and something that happened in our lives. And it's interesting because every famous artist, they tell these stories that people every day approach them and say, "Hey, I lost my virginity hearing your song," or "that song was played in my wedding," and etc. Those incredible stories. So it's really interesting, this connection that we have with music. And I hope you like the story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. If you want to read more about it, you can go to the description and visit the article we wrote. And there are other videos about Elton John here in the channel and Pink Floyd, so don't forget to watch those videos too, which are below the description, or take a look at the channel. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.